I said last Sunday that God wants you to be happy. That God wants you to have an enriching, a fulfilling, and a joyful year. And I reminded us that the psalmist says here in the 100th Psalm that God is our loving and caring God. That we are His beloved children. That He is the shepherd and we are the sheep. And like any caring, loving shepherd, He wants the best for us. I then went on to say that if we're going to have a grand year, we need to partner with God in order to have that grand year. God will do His part, I said. The key is, will we do our part? And I offered 4 practices and principles by which you and I can partner with God for a great year. I said, first of all, we have to avoid an if-only mentality. If only life would do this for me. I said, secondly, we need to keep a sense of awe and wonder about life. I said, thirdly, we need to make time for personal renewal and personal refreshment. And I said, finally, we need to recognize that getting more stuff isn't the answer. Well, today, I want to offer 4 additional practices and principles by which we partner with God in order to have a truly grand year. God will do His part this year. The question is, will we do our part? And so let me share 4 additional practices and principles that you and I need to fulfill in order to have a truly grand year. First of all, we need to make necessary changes in our lives. I had a person in this congregation come to me just this past week and tell me that he had offended a colleague at work, that he had lost his temper, he had raised his tone with her, and in the end he had demeaned her. So he comes and tells me this. He said, I'm not happy with myself that I got that angry with her, that I raised my voice the way I did, and that I, in the end, unintentionally demeaned her. And then he went on to say this to me. He said, Richard, I'm not happy with myself. This is not who I am. And this is not who I want to be. And that happening has shown me that there's something about me that needs to change. And so I just want you to know, as I'm sharing this with you, that I'm going to start praying that God will help me deal with this. Because while that's not who I am normally and naturally, the very fact that in that moment I could get that angry, in that moment I could demean her the way I did, that moment I could put her down the way I did, means something in me needs to change. I'm not happy with myself. There's no spiritual maxim that goes like this. If you like yourself all the time, then you're not being honest with yourself. Let that sink in. If you like yourself all the time, then you're not being honest with yourself. If Richard Smith likes himself all the time, then Richard Smith is not being honest with himself. Because there is some part of each and every one of us that needs to change if we're going to be the better persons we want to be and the persons God wants us to be. Let me say it again. There is some part of each of us that needs to change if we're going to be the better persons we want to be and be the persons God wants us to be. Let me tell you 3 reasons that making the necessary changes matters. First of all, as people of faith, you'll not be at peace with God if you don't change what needs to change. I'll not be at peace with God as a person of faith if I don't change what needs to change. Secondly, relationships depend upon us changing where we need to change. Every husband, every wife, every friend, every person, every relationship is strained at one time or another because one person or the other won't accept that there's something that he or she needs to do differently. As a pastor, I do a lot of marriage counseling. And I can tell you both as a marriage counselor, a pastor, and as a husband, that relationships are often strained simply because one person will not accept that he or she needs to make certain changes. Relationships depend upon us changing the part of us that needs to change. Third thing is, you cannot be spiritually mature if you don't face up to what needs to change. First thing to have a great year is for each of us to accept that because we don't like ourselves all the time or shouldn't like ourselves all the time, some things need to change. Second thing, make laughter a part of life. Make laughter a natural part of your life. Laugh every chance you get. One of the funniest experiences I ever had as a pastor occurred when I was pastor at First United Methodist Church in Murray, Kentucky, prior to coming here. It was a Saturday morning. I went to the church, as I always did on Saturday mornings, to check my email, to check my phone messages, to go over my sermon or finish my sermon, because I was off on Friday. So every Saturday morning, I went to my office and checked my emails, checked my phone messages, and I would finish my sermon if it wasn't already finished. And on this particular occasion, I was really casually dressed. I had on a Murray State University hooded sweatshirt, I had on a ball cap, had on jeans, and had on sneakers. So I went to my office, turned the computer on, and then I went downstairs to carry downstairs a baby bottle of money that the members of the congregation were collecting to support our children's ministry. He was going to share those coins with an agency in the community. And so our children's director, whose name was Kristen, had asked everybody in the church to fill a baby bottle, put it on your kitchen table, fill the baby bottle with coins, and then bring it to the church. So I go in, I turn on the computer, I go downstairs where the box of baby bottles are on a table in order to put our baby bottle in the boxes of baby bottles. I didn't turn on the light because I knew I was just going to be down there a few moments and then I was going to go back upstairs. And so I go over to the box of the baby bottle. I noticed all the baby bottles had tilted over. So I started straightening them up, getting them just right, set our baby bottle in there, and then went upstairs. Now, I've been there very long until how sometimes you just know somebody's watching you. And I glanced over to see two policemen standing in the doorway of my office. It's a true story. And they looked at me and I looked at them. Now keep in mind how I'm dressed. I'm in a Murray State hooded sweatshirt, I have a ball cap, jeans, and sneakers. And I said, okay. And they said, who are you? And I said, I'm the preacher. Oh, okay. I said, can I help you? And they said, well, do you have a children's director named Kristen? I said, yes. He said, well, we got a call that there's a burglar in the church. And I said, oh. I said, what did she say? And she said, there was somebody downstairs stealing the money, the baby bottles full of money from Fellowship Hall. And I said, I was just down there. I didn't see anybody. And I said, well, what did she say he looked like? And she said, well, he had a hooded sweatshirt. And they're looking, and they're looking at me the whole time, in blue jeans and ball cap and sneakers. And then we realized what's happened. In the darkness, Kristen, our children's director, had seen me down there straightening up the baby bottles, thought there was an intruder, and rightfully, as I later told her, rightfully calls the police. Now, she was there for a children's event, and that's why she was there that early. So we go downstairs, we figured it out. They do believe I'm the pastor. And we go outside to where Kristen is in the police car. They put her in a police car in order to protect her from this intruder. And so we go outside, and I wish I could capture, I really wish I could capture for eternity the image of Kristen, by the way, whom we had just hired as children's director, as she saw me come out with a policeman. And I would later learn through their parents with their children who had been told to stay in their cars while the police went inside to get this burglar. Kristen was in a police car, and all the parents were told to stay inside with parents stay in the cars. And I later learned that one of the kids turned to his mom, but I walked out with a policeman and said, Mom, they got him. There's the burglar. Wait, that's Reverend Richard. I laugh to this day about that. Now you say, well, it's easy to laugh at something like that. How do you laugh when life is hard? How do you laugh when it's not just some humorous accident? Paul Prather is a pastor in Kentucky. He's also a writer for the Lexington, Kentucky Herald newspaper. He writes a column. And one of his columns was titled, and I've read him for years, one of his columns was titled, Amid Cancer, You Better Laugh. His wife Renee battled cancer for 5 years prior to dying a few years ago. It was a debilitating, painful, challenging cancer. And Paul Prather writes that one of the things that got he and Renee through that was that they learned to continue to laugh. And he tells about the occasion that they had been out getting ice cream. He would take little trips here and there just to give her some time to kind of be renewed and refreshed. And they're going out for ice cream. And he said, we were coming home, and we pulled into our cul-de-sac, and I noticed out of the dark something just going by. And he said, as I got closer to the house, I realized it was our 19-year-old son, John, who was doing wheelies in his mother's wheelchair. So he pulls into the cul-de-sac. They see this object go by, this person go by. They get closer. They discover it's their 19-year-old son, John, who's doing wheelies in his cancer-ridden mother's wheelchair. Fast forward several days. He's going to take a trip. He's got to go to Maryland. Renee's going to go visit her sister as she battles the cancer. And they're packing up all her stuff. And John comes in, as Paul Prather writes, and says, Mama, see you getting all your stuff together. You're not taking the wheelchair, are you? And Paul Prather writes this: you had better never stop laughing. Proverbs 17:22 puts it this way: a cheerful spirit is medicine for the soul. I know life can be horrendously tough. And it's not as simple as a mistake like Kristen's. But laughter is a gift. And people who make you laugh are a gift. And if you want a grand year, keep laughing. Third thing, lean on people. Recognize that you and I need other people. None of us are islands unto ourselves. We're not independent people. None of us can get through life without other people helping us. Now, you may think, and I may think, that we're independent. You may think, and I may think, that we can get through life without others. We cannot. We need other people. One of my favorite singers is James Taylor, which probably tells you something about my age. And one of the songs for which he's most notable, You Got a Friend. You know that song. He didn't write it. Carole King wrote the song. But in that song, James Taylor sings this: when you're down in troubles and you need some love and care, and nothing is going right, close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you've got to do is call, and I'll be there. Yes, I will. You've got a friend. Thank God for the people in our lives who let us lean on them. And it's a mature person, me included, who realizes how much we need other people. And if you want this year, which is going to bring some challenges simply because life does that, then lean on others. And thank God for those who let you lean on them. Final thing, let kindness be your daily mantra. Kindness is its own reward. Kind people are the happiest people alive. You know that. Have you ever met an unhappy, kind person? I doubt it. There are two types of kindness. There's, first of all, everyday simple kindness. I was in Walmart, and I was checking out, and the young lady at the register was probably in her mid-20s, I'm guessing, and she's scanning my items, and as I do anytime I'm in any place, as she's scanning the items, I said, well, I hope you're having a good day. And she didn't respond. Usually people say, yeah, it's pretty good. Hope you're having a good day. And then after a few moments, she said, it's not a good day. I said, oh, okay. She said, a lot of things going on. And she said it woefully, all the while scanning my items. And after she finished scanning them, I said, Sue, I'm going to pray for you. I want to pray that God will give you strength to handle whatever it is you've got to handle. I want to tell you something. You know this. You would have thought I'd handed her a $100 bill. This woeful face became a semi-smiling face. This young lady who was burdened with whatever it is that was burdening her was glad somebody cared enough about her to pray for her. Never underestimate the power of an encouraging word. Never underestimate the power of offering somebody support. Never underestimate that kind word that can be a seed by which God blossoms something in somebody's spirit who's struggling at the very moment you speak that word. Never, ever underestimate what you can do by a simple, kind gesture or kind word. Second kind of kindness, active compassion. Now, how does that differ from everyday kindness? Active compassion is committing yourself to a cause, to a need, to a heartbreak in our community or our world, to an agency, to a group, to something that's happening to make our world a better place, and sacrificially giving your time and your attention and your effort to that. We ought to be kind every day, but the world needs really compassionate people because it's a hurting world. One of my favorite, and probably your favorite, little poetic pieces that's been attributed to John Wesley wrongfully goes like this. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can. You've heard that many times. And let me tell you something. When you do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can, you will be blessed. Because kindness, again, is its own reward. God wants you to have a great year. God wants you to have an enriching, a fulfilling, and a joyful year. And He'll do His part. Will we do ours? Are we willing to work on the part of ourselves that needs to change? Are we willing to laugh? Embrace laughter as a gift? Are we really willing to lean on other people? Unapologetically, just lean on other people. And are we willing to live kindly? Thanks be to God. Amen. We have a very special